Hey guys, it's Jsnow, and this is the Big Black Surprise deck, or Chromatic Black, what do you call it, deck, as it's called in Magic Goldfish, but I like to call it Big Black Surprise, because I added a little tiny bit of spice to it, just a very tiny amount, because I don't have most of the cards in Magic Arena, but basically you use the rest to get rid of cards from your opponent's hand, which is pretty simple. I run 2 Arguel's Bloodfast to get some extra card draw, 1 Cast Down to destroy creatures that are not legendary, 1 Kite Sail, which is debatable. If I had another treasure map or a Thaumatic Compass, I'd probably be using that instead. But it removes a card from the hand, so it's kind of the same as the rest. 2 Moment of Cravings to gain life against aggro decks, so because you really need that life and it kills a little creature. The Mattock Compass, I only have 1. I've definitely run 2 or even possibly 3, as this card flips and then turns into extra land, and you can also grab swamps from it. Treasure map, kind of the same thing. You'll get an extra land and you'll be able to sacrifice treasures, and they do stack. These aren't legendary lands, so you can actually get multiple of these lands, which is awesome. 2 Golden Demise for aggro decks. 1 Chaos Wand. This is the extra spice, part of the extra spice. What do you call Chaos Wand? You can basically cast an instant or sorcery off your opponent's deck for just 4 mana after you cast it and tap it. So basically you get a spell every time you you cast it, unless your opponent doesn't have any spells, or you get a card like a counter spell where you can't actually use it, which kind of sucks. So there are some situations where you might be able to cast a counter spell, but every time I've done it, I've never been able to cast a counter spell off of it. Chromatic Lantern, this is very, very important. You need 4 of these in order to access your full mana base, and that's kind of self-explanatory for this deck. That's why it's originally called Chromatic Black, because you'll be able to play any color in the game. So you definitely need 4 lanterns, otherwise this won't work. 1 Josu Vess, I get this out decently often. You kick it basically for a zombie army. 2 Masterminds Acquisition, if you have 4, run 4. This allows you to search a card from your deck, or from outside the game, which is extremely important. Outside the game is basically what this deck runs on. So if you have more Masterminds, feel free to put them in. 1 Ravenous Chupacabra, this is just because I ran out of cards. Obviously I added more treasure maps or Thaumatic Compasses. Ritual of Suit, if you have 2 of them, that's pretty nice, because this wipes the board of any 3 or less creatures. 1 Twilight Prophet, it does work a little bit, but once again, this is an optional card, Twilight Prophet. 3 Vraska's Contempt, this removes creatures and gains that important 2 life. 1 Karn, Scion of Urza, this allows you to get some card advantage and get cards back from the exile zone, depending if your opponent exiles it. If you do have 2 Karns, I would run 2 Karns. 3 Eldest Reborns, this is Reborns, it says Reborn. Basically, you sacrifice an opponent's creature, they discard a card, and then you reborn a monster from any graveyard, in that order. 1 Vampire Sovereign, I just like this card, obviously not really needed for the deck, but that 3 life gain and 3 life loss is sometimes what makes the difference in the game, believe it or not. And you can get this card out pretty reliably, so I added in just as a little tiny bit of spice. It's not really spicy, it's just like, people don't expect it, so they don't really counter it or anything like that. 2 Demonlord Belzenlok, so the original deck runs 1, but you can definitely get away with 2. This allows you to draw a card. Basically, you draw a card, and if it costs 4 or greater, you take 1 damage and you draw another card. And so it basically cycles the cards over and over again until you draw a card that's less than 3 cost. And it can sometimes kill yourself, because it might draw too many cards and you might not have enough life, so you gotta be careful about that. 2 Niv-Mizzet Paruns. This is running the main deck because it's just awesome. Once you have Chromatic Lantern out, you'll be able to cast it, and you draw a card every time an instant or sorcery is cast, and you can deal 1 damage to any target. It's very, very good. Very, very good. Omniscience, this is the spice. This is the spiciest card probably in the deck. So in the Chromatic Black deck, I don't see any of them running Omniscience. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But this allows you to cast spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. So I would normally run this in the sideboard, but because I ran out of sideboard space and I don't have a second Omniscience, I threw it into the main board, which makes it a dead draw. So definitely replace Omniscience into the sideboard, not the main deck if you can. Otherwise, I have cast it like 5 or 6 times from the main deck with no issues. So definitely works, but I would definitely put it in the sideboard, not the main board. 3 Cabal Strongholds, you want 4 of these. I don't have 4, but it essentially kind of doubles your mana depending on how much swamps you have on the field. It's a must-have in the deck, otherwise you won't be able to get out stuff consistently. So make sure you have 4 Cabal Strongholds and not 3, but try to get as many as possible. You can definitely work off of 2 if you can't afford it, but you definitely need the card. And then I run 21 swamps, so for a total of 24 lands, or 25 lands? No, 24 lands, alright. Now to the sideboard. So the sideboard is where you're going to be grabbing Masterminds Acquisition from. So what are you going to grab? So it's pretty much whatever you want, which is awesome about this deck. But of course, there's a couple of things that are extremely good and a couple of things that aren't that great. So what I have, you basically make it as you want, but there's 3 cards that are very important. So the first card there's a couple cards that are extremely important. First one is Starve Extinction. It is a massive board wipe that kills everything on the field. You might need that in case things get out of hand. It's the Primal Calamity. This card is awesome because if you cast it with Omniscience, you cast it for free and it untaps all your lands. What I'm currently running is Hostage Taker, just to take something if I really need it. The Boros Angel, that's kind of a shoo-in. Nicol Bolas is pretty awesome because you'll be able to flip him over pretty easily in this deck. So Nicol Bolas is definitely a great addition. Helmet of Host is cool to put on creatures, but you're not really running that many creatures, so Helmet of Host isn't that useful, but I throw it in. Cleansing Nova is pretty important for board wipes or enchantment wipes, so I would add in a Cleansing Nova if you got it. 1 Gilded Lotus, just in case for some reason the mana doesn't work out. With the Masterminds, basically Masterminds Acquisition, whatever it's called, into Gilded Lotus to get some extra mana. Atali Primal Storm, because it's a fun card, but definitely not needed. Sunbirds, because it's a fun card, definitely not needed, but definitely works really good. Azor the Lawbringer, which brings down the law and makes your opponent not be able to cast instant or sorceries the next turn, which is awesome. Molthor the Gravetide to cast cards from your graveyard. I mean, this doesn't really happen too often because it's kind of clunky, but when it does, it's pretty funny. And 1 Banefire, since you'll have a ton of mana from the swamps, you can definitely take out your opponent with Banefire pretty easily. I have yet to use it though, because usually I just kill him with Omniscience or Urza. And then 2 Expansions to Explosions, which is a total shoo-in. Definitely don't put in the sideboard, but I ran out of cards, so just put whatever you like in the sideboard. Just make sure it's a really big, beefy creature or something powerful like Azor or Zakama. And then that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this mini deck tech for you guys. And I will see you guys next time. Feel free to like the video if you enjoyed it. Oh, what? Oh, that sucks. Oof. If only I had more mana. I gotta play all my little guys first. So I'm not doing mass discards. Discarding Demonlord. Alright, well, Alright, so I'll have to do Sovereign next. Wait, he still has plays? Alright, another Swamp. We'll play this. Wait, do we have enough for Omniscience? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think we have enough for Omniscience. Search your library for a card, put it in your hand. Omniscience. Oh, this is gonna be fun. If it doesn't get counted. I was like, it'll still be counted. Whoa, he's gonna go for the top? He needs to kill the Sovereign, though. I guess he has a Lava Coil. Oh, he sent his brother to the grave. His brother. Alright. Alright, we're gonna attempt to cast Omniscience. Oh, we got Omniscience. Oh, buddy, man. This is not gonna be good for you. Play Demon without casting. And now I get to draw like 50 cards, hopefully. Oh my goodness. Just keep casting cards. Cast without paying its mana cost. Oh wait, I should have played Niv-Mizzet. I got too excited. From outside the game, Niv-Mizzet does 1 damage. I draw a card. Let's get the Dinosaur Surprise. Cast a comma without paying its mana cost. Cast from the hand. Get Karn. Play Karn. Play Eldest Reborn. Eldest Reborn takes out, sacrifices a permanent. And then for the lulz, Moment of Craving on myself. Dealing 1 damage over here. Oh man, that was glorious.